Hey everyone, this is the hike to Tenaja Falls. It's kind of falling right now. There's some flow. It's not raging, but it's a fun hike here in Cleveland National Forest in Southern California. Now, if you want to just get to the falls, you can drive pretty close. You can drive about a little over half a mile away, and it's a pretty short hike to get here. And if you want to do that, I'll put a link in the video to that, where that part of the hike starts. I'll put a jump there, and I'll also talk about it on the article in HikingGuy.com. So make sure you check that out to get the parking information. But it's a pretty remote spot here, so I figure if you want to come all the way out here and you want to hike a little bit more than a mile and a half, I'm going to show you a route that I really enjoy here that starts at the Fisherman's Camp trailhead and then goes down to Fisherman's Camp, which is a neat little camp spot, and then goes up the San Mateo Canyon and San Mateo Creek, a beautiful little valley here in Cleveland National Forest, and then rejoins this main Tenaja Falls Trail. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. It's about maybe just under 8 miles round trip out and back, and I'll show you another way you can go home on the road if you want. It's not too bad. And again, I'll have all those details in the guide on Hiking Guy, so check that out. In this video, I'm going to show you the turn-by-turn directions, and as you're watching, if you are enjoying the video, if you could do me a big favor, click the little thumbs up. It's an easy way to say thank you, and it helps me out a ton because it gets the video discovered, and it means that more people are seeing this and hopefully doing the hike safely. So anyway, without further ado, let's go to Tenaja Falls.
All right, so from the road, we're going to go and start at the Fisherman's Camp trailhead, which is right here. You can see 15 million people have put their finger on the spot where we are, right there. But we're going to go through the little parking area to start the hike. Now, there is another parking area just a little bit down the road, and I'll mark that on the map if there's no spots here, if you don't want to risk getting blocked in. But the actual trail starts right at the end of that little area here. This used to be a jeep road that went down to the Fisherman's Camp, but when this became a wilderness area, the roads went away, and now it is a beautiful trail. And as you go down, you're actually going to pass a little marker telling you that you're in the San Mateo Canyon Wilderness area. It's considered one of the most remote places here in the Santa Ana Mountains. And shortly after the start, there's a trail register where you should sign in. They use this to figure out how many people are on the trails and how much maintenance or budget they should put towards it. So go ahead and sign in, but you don't need any special permit here to hike. You can just sign in and go. And we're basically going to go downhill until we get to the camp and the canyon. And there's some really nice sweeping views down there into San Mateo Canyon and the surrounding hillsides here. The trail twists around. You can see down, I guess it's to the west down there, down the canyon. Really, really nice descent, and it's a nice way to start your hike going downhill, as always. And eventually you're going to go down, you're going to see the trail cut down in front of you as it kind of approaches the end down there where the camp is. And again, this was a road, so this was cut out, but you can see it's amazing how nature has reclaimed the road. And here you can see a little bit of overgrowth. This area kind of gets a bad rap for overgrowth. If it's been a really wet winter, it's a little bit worse, but in general, it's okay. Now, this intersection is where we're going to make the right eventually, but we're going to make a quick detour to go check out the camp. And it's only 2 minutes to walk to the camp, but it's worth taking a look at. It's where the two creeks come together, and there's some nice flat spaces to camp. It's a popular campground because you can basically drive almost up to the trailhead, walk downhill, and camp in a pretty remote spot. You can see there's a lot of flat areas here. There's a hidden little area up there where you can camp and some sandy areas down there. So check it out, enjoy it, and then head back to that last intersection where we were. And this is where we came down. We're going to make the left here and go up San Mateo Canyon. Now you can see the trail is primitive. It's definitely easy to follow, but again, it might be a little overgrown in spots, so just a heads up. And eventually you're going to come down to San Mateo Creek, and the creek crossings can be a little bit tricky because they change when the creek floods, but for this one, we're going to go upstream a little bit and then cross over just a little upstream from where we came in. You'll be able to see the trail right across over there. And that's generally the best way to do it. Just head upstream, start looking across the creek to see where the trail is. And we're just going to head on up there. Now, when we get across, it's easy to follow. We're going to go uphill a little bit. basically follow the left bank of the creek as we go up the canyon, and this is really beautiful too. This is why I recommend taking this route if you can do the miles instead of just the short route, because this area is really, really rugged, remote, and beautiful. Now we're going to come back down and cross back over the creek. And you can see there's a little water in there. If it's after a really wet winter or a really heavy rain, prepare to get wet here. You're probably going to get your feet wet as you cross, but most of the time it's not like that. You can just hop on across and find the other trail right over there connecting. And when we come up from here, there's a trail split after a couple minutes. There's an upper trail and a lower trail. They both go to the same place. We'll take the lower trail because I want to show you some of the little pools in the creek, some of the swimming holes, which are really beautiful and worth taking a look at, or even dipping in if it's a hot day and you want to cool down. It does get really hot here in the summer, so this is a good winter hike. Here's one of those swimming holes. Now, there used to be steelhead trout that came in here. Those are the trout that are born here, go to the ocean, and then come back up to spawn. But we're trying to restore that habitat, but those they haven't been seen here for quite a while, as far as I can tell. If you know any different, if you have any updates on steelhead and San Mateo Creek, let me know. I don't even know if they come up this far, but you can see there's some water down there and another creek crossing. And just like the other ones, we're going to go up a little bit and then go across, look for the trail on the other side. There it is. Right through here, you can see it climbing up the bank over on the left side. We're going to hop across these rocks over here and keep going. And right after this, or not right after, a little while, there's another creek crossing. You're going to go back. This one's always a little swampy. We're going to go back across the creek. Now, if the creek is flooded, take that upper trail that I showed you before. You're going to avoid all of these creek crossings. And that comes back in right over here. That's the upper trail that we saw the split for earlier. But we're going to go straight here and continue up to the falls, which will be here in a couple minutes. Now, the route here also gets a wrap for poison oak. You can see some of it down there. In this case, it wasn't overgrown on the trails, but I do wear long pants when I'm doing a hike like this, just to keep the oils from those plants off of my legs. I'm going to keep going up. Really beautiful, rugged area here. And eventually we're going to come to the main trail, which is right here. There's a big sign to the falls. And if you came in from the close parking lot on the short hike, you're going to come in here. You're going to come down. There's a little display about the steelhead trout. And then we're going to come down to the creek. Now, ideally, you're going to cross right there on the left. But sometimes, and just follow that trail up, it's too flooded there. And if it is too flooded, we're just going to go up on this little detour, past this boulder over here. And then you're going to find past the boulder a crossing with some stones here. Now we're going to hop across this part of the creek and then climb up this little bank on the other side. And then we're going to rejoin that trail that we passed earlier. Now, if you're able to cross at the creek, you're already going to be on this trail, so you don't have to worry about this little detour part. But this is it right here as we go up. Now, this part can be a little confusing. There's a lot of side trails off to the right. This is a popular spot. People come here and hang out. You can also go to the creek on the right and go up along the creek as well. But the main trail is straight here. And after a few minutes through these little side trails, you're going to start going uphill. It's not a really tough climb, and it's pretty short, so don't get too worried about how much work you have to do here. But it is an uphill. And eventually, as you go up, you're going to see little clearings like this. And this is really the best spot to see the falls, which are right there. You can see the gray around it. And there's, half a dozen of these spots as you go up. If you want a nice wide panoramic view of the falls, that's the best place to grab your photos. And when you get towards the top, there's a side trail going off to the right. That'll take you down to the pools in the lower falls, but we're going to go up to the top of the falls, which is straight. And you can check those pools out on the way back if you'd like. But we're going to go up to the top, and when you come to this concrete slab where the old road used to be, we're going to make the quick right, and we're going to be at the top of the falls here. There you can see the top of the falls right down there. There's also a USGS survey marker from 1935 there, kind of neat. But here you are at the top of the falls, and at this point, it's just a matter of exploring. You can kind of go around this way, to get to the top. If you want a photograph of the falls from up close, you kind of go around over to the left over here. But you can visit the pool, and over to the left, right down there where you see those rocks. It's not a trail or anything, so you got to be careful, but you can climb down there and get a shot of the falls. Nice views into the San Mateo Canyon and the pool up top here, but just explore the pools and then head back the way you came, or you can take the road back if you took the longer route, and I'll show you that in the maps on the hiking guide.
So that's it. Tenaja Falls, very cool hike. Definitely recommend it if you have not been here already. Now, once again, just go to HikingGuy.com where I have all the details on parking and the way to get back and maps and all that fun stuff. If you stick around after me yapping right here, I'll show you what this hike looks like on a 3D map so you know the lay of the land. And I just want to say a big hello and shout out to everyone who said hello to me on the trail today, the Hiking Guy readers. It is so awesome to meet you. So if you do see me on the trail, please say hello. Don't be shy. I love meeting you all. All right, guys, I'll see you out on the trails. Bye.
All right, so here is the 3D map. Now, if you're doing a short route, you're going to basically drive up the road until you get to the parking lot here and then climb up this part. I'll show you that in a sec. But if we're doing the scenic route, we're going to park here at the Fisherman's Camp trailhead. And then this is a nice long downhill, gradual downhill here till we get to Fisherman's Camp. And I showed you that detour. That detour is just down here, really short. This is where the San Mateo and I believe the Tenaja Creek meet at Fisherman's Camp. This used to be a place where fishermen came to fish for steelhead trout when that used to happen, but no more. Anyway, when we're done here, we go up, we cross the creek there. That's that creek I showed you, that creek crossing, sorry. And then this is the part that's really scenic, when I call it a scenic hike. This part where you go up along San Mateo Canyon. There's a couple of creek crossings here as you go, and we're basically going to follow this all the way up till we get to the area where the short route comes in. And when we get here, let's bring it around this way. There's the parking area for the short route, and we're going to come up here, go up the climb, and then when we get to the turn right here, you'll see these viewpoints start, and we should be able to see the top of the falls pretty nicely. Let's go in here, let's pop in. And this is the falls right there. And when you come up, you can see there's the side trail that goes down to these lower pools. You can also go up the creek at the start of the hike too, and go up along the creek bed if you'd like. When we get to the top of the falls, here we are. I mentioned earlier you could go around to the left-hand side there. There's no trail there, so just be careful if you do go around on that side, because it is a little hairy, but you can definitely do it, and there's definitely people who do it. And then when you're done, you just go back down the way you came, and it is an out and back hike. So if you want to go back and you've done the scenic route and you've parked at Fisherman's Camp, you can also just take the road back. It's about 1.5 miles on the road, and it's sort of a direct route back to the parking. Or if you want to kill more time or spend some more time in the wilderness, you can go back the way you came and then hike back up on the trail. So that's the hike. If you're in Google Earth, this is a nice way to preview the hike and kind of go over it in detail. You can also download free topographic maps that you can overlay on here. There's 2 variations. You can do this one, which just has the lines, and it'll tell you all of the canyons and landmarks and overlay the grid there, which is kind of helpful in terms of knowing where you are. And you can even download the entire topographic map and go around and play around with it here. And it'll map the 3D surface onto the topographic map where you can explore as well. And I have a guide to reading topographic maps on the website. So just go to Hiking Guy, that will be on there. And you can play around with this. It's a neat little feature. But otherwise, Tenaja Falls, that's how you do it.